Elon Musk explains the wealth gap and how to escape it before 2026. For most of modern history, the wealth gap was something people talked about in abstract terms. It was discussed in reports, statistics, and political debates. It felt distant, slow, moving, and theoretical. Many people believed it was unfortunate, but not immediately threatening to their own lives. That feeling has changed. Today, the wealth gap feels personal. It shows up in daily decisions. It shows up in rent prices, job security, and the growing sense that effort does not translate into progress the way it once did. People are not just noticing that some are getting richer. They are noticing that they are falling behind faster, even while working harder. This is not a coincidence. According to Elon Musk, what we are experiencing is not a normal economic cycle. It is a structural shift driven by technology speed and leverage. And if he is right, the wealth gap is about to become far more difficult to escape after 2026. Why this gap feels different from before. In previous generations, economic change happened slowly. Skills stayed valuable for decades. Entire careers could be built on a single profession. Even when inequality existed, mobility still felt possible. Today, change is compressed into years instead of lifetimes. A skill learned in your 20s can lose value by your 30s. Entire industries can shrink before people have time to adapt. Stability feels temporary rather than expected. This creates a new kind of pressure. People are not just worried about being poor. They are worried about becoming irrelevant, and that fear is not irrational. Elon Musk's perspective is not about rich vs poor. When Elon Musk talks about inequality, he does not frame it primarily as a moral argument. He frames it as a system design issue. From his point of view, technology does not distribute rewards evenly, it amplifies advantages. Small differences in timing, access, or understanding become massive over time. This is why a small group can accumulate extraordinary wealth while millions struggle to keep pace. Musk believes this process is accelerating, not slowing down. Artificial intelligence, automation, and software are reducing the value of repetitive labor while dramatically increasing the value of ownership, control, and leverage. This creates a widening gap that hard work alone cannot close. Why hard work feels less effective than it used to. Many people sense something is wrong but cannot explain it clearly. They are more productive than previous generations. They have better tools. They work longer hours. Yet financial progress feels limited. This creates frustration. People start questioning themselves. They assume they are doing something wrong. They believe they need to work harder, hustle more, or sacrifice further. Musk's explanation is uncomfortable but clarifying. He suggests the system has changed faster than people's assumptions about it. Hard work still matters, but it no longer guarantees upward movement. Without leverage, effort increasingly produces diminishing returns. That is why so many hardworking people feel stuck despite doing everything right. The role of technology in widening the gaps. Technology used to create jobs faster than it replaced them. Today, it often replaces tasks faster than new roles can absorb displaced workers. Automation does not eliminate entire professions overnight. Instead, it reduces demand, gradually lowering wages, increasing competition, and weakening security. Meanwhile, those who own the technology benefit from scale. One software system can replace thousands of hours of human labor. One platform can dominate global markets. One idea can generate value across continents. Musk believes this dynamic is the central driver of modern inequality. Why 2026 is a turning point, not a deadline. When Musk references the mid-2020s, he is not predicting collapse or crisis. He is pointing to alignment. By this period, artificial intelligence, automation, and data-driven systems become deeply embedded in everyday economic life. At that point, the wealth gap stops being flexible and starts becoming structural. People who are positioned correctly benefit automatically. People who are not feel increasing pressure just to maintain their place. This does not happen suddenly. It happens quietly. And that is what makes it dangerous. Why most people are still underreacting? The biggest risk is not panic, it is complacency. Many people believe the system will eventually correct itself. They trust institutions to adapt. They assume their skills will remain relevant long enough to adjust later. Musk believes this mindset is risky. Technology moves faster than policies. Markets adapt faster than education systems. By the time change becomes obvious, options narrow. This is why understanding the wealth gap before it locks in matters so much. What this video is really about. This is not a video about blaming the rich or shaming the poor. It is not about fear, hype, or predictions of collapse. It is about understanding how the system is changing, why the wealth gap is accelerating, and what Musk believes individuals must do to avoid being trapped on the wrong side of it. Because according to Musk, the gap is not just widening, it is becoming harder to cross, and the window to reposition is smaller than most people think. If you are positioned in a growing system, even average effort produces strong results. If you are positioned in a shrinking system, extreme effort produces very little. This is why two equally hardworking people can experience completely different outcomes. One is aligned with technology-driven growth. The other is resisting it unknowingly. Musk believes escaping the wealth gap requires honest evaluation of where your effort is applied. The role of technology literacy in escaping the gap. Musk does not suggest everyone must become an engineer, but he does believe technology literacy is essential. Understanding how systems work gives people leverage. It allows them to see opportunities before they become obvious. Those who treat technology as something distant or intimidating lose agency. Those who understand it, even at a basic level, gain optionality. In a technology-driven economy, ignorance is expensive. Why small shifts compound over time? Musk does not promote dramatic overnight changes. He believes in compounding. Small adjustments in learning, skills, and positioning accumulate quietly. Over years, they produce massive differences. Someone who starts learning about emerging systems early gains confidence, networks, and insights. Someone who waits until disruption hits is forced to react under pressure. This is how the wealth gap becomes permanent for some and avoidable for others. Why dependence is the real risk. One of Musk's less discussed warnings is about dependence. Dependence on a single employer, dependence on a single skill, dependence on a system you do not control. The more dependent you are, the more vulnerable you become when technology shifts. Escaping the wealth gap does not require full independence. It requires reduced fragility. Musk believes resilience comes from optionality. At this point, it is worth pausing for a moment. If this explanation is helping you see the wealth gap differently, not as a moral issue, but as a system problem, then this is exactly the kind of thinking this channel focuses on. If you want to understand how these long-term shifts affect your future before they become obvious, make sure you are subscribed. Now let's continue. Why waiting is the most common mistake. Musk often warns that people wait for clarity before acting. They wait until disruption is undeniable. They wait until jobs disappear. They wait until pressure forces change. By then, options are limited. Early movers adapt with choice. Late movers adapt under stress. This difference explains why two people facing the same system experience completely different outcomes. What Musk does not promise. Musk does not promise equality. He does not promise easy wealth. He does not promise that everyone will win. What he suggests is more realistic. Those who understand the system early can avoid being trapped by it. Escaping the wealth gap does not mean becoming rich overnight. It means avoiding permanent disadvantage. Why the next few years are decisive. According to Musk, the next few years represent a transition. Systems are still forming. Advantages are still accumulating. Barriers are still being built. Once systems mature, mobility decreases. This is why timing matters, not because opportunity disappears, but because late entry becomes costly. The core takeaway from Musk's warning: Musk's explanation reduces to one central idea. The wealth gap is no longer mainly about effort or morality. It is about alignment with systems that scale. Those who align early benefit quietly. Those who misalign fall behind slowly. Understanding this before 2026 creates choice. Understanding it after creates pressure. If this breakdown changed how you think about the wealth gap, technology, or your own position in the system, subscribe to the channel and comment below. Do you think technology is creating opportunity or locking people out faster than ever? The future will reward those who understand the system early and punish those who assume the old rules still apply.